by their religion, and they don't
Right.
see it that we are also ruled by religion.
Well, not to the same extent, though. I mean, let's make sure. Well, this is not Saudi Arabia.
Well, we're working towards it,
No.
in my view. But thank you for your chat.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'm in agreement with you that we have to be mindful of an oncoming theocracy. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that folks like Sarah Palin would love that very much.
Right.
Anyway, thank you very much, Mary. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay.
So
that was a good call.
Yeah, it was
That was a
great.
good call.
Actually, thanks to our callers, and we can get the number back up there again. Anyone wants to talk about the separation of church and state issue, which is obviously one of our big one, or anything else that we're bringing up. Later, I'll get into my topic for epistemology.
Right.
But let me run through this one, because I thought this one was particularly good, and for the international, for people who might be watching internationally, some of these issues are more front of mind. The New Vatican campaign to clamp down on liberal opinion. Interestingly, it said that the emphasis will be placed on evangelism, on an evangelization campaign to overcome the alienation of young people scandalized by the spate of sexual abuse of children and by later cover-ups of pedophile clerics by the leaders of the institutional church. The Vatican investigation is likely to face a backlash from liberal Catholics who want more accountability and democracy in church decision-making. And I think this runs to the root of why I thought this was particularly interesting. Is they're labeling a certain faction of Catholic opinion as liberal opinion, because liberal opinion wants to do away with the sort of from top-down edicts coming from the Pope that essentially wipe this slate clean. Of course, it's highly undemocratic. I mean, the Pope has in the past been essentially a dictator, essentially a king of sorts, an emperor of sorts.
Yeah.
I think liberals, as far as a liberal opinion, I think a liberal opinion would say, yeah, if there's an organizational structure that is systematically covering up the sexual abuse of children, and they're doing their damnedest to try to make sure that it gets swept under the carpet, yeah, it should be. And it's funny that now it's the Vatican clamping down on this opinion. Of course, they're covering their behinds, so to speak.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how the Pope gets a pass for all the abuse that happened on his watch. He was actually in charge of all the cases, of all the pedophile cases in the Catholic Church.
Right.
And he swept it all under the rug. And I'm just amazed at how much you can get away with if you have a deacon collar on, a priest collar on. If you're a pastor, that title seems to be a get out of jail free pass for many priests. And it's really a shame.
Yeah, and I think we could do whole shows on this, and it's certainly been sensationalized in the press. And as I think Matt said, Mike Gillis said on last time, was the Pope regards to as petty gossip, which I thought was looks like we have another call.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that now, or?
Yeah, let's take it now.
I'm done with this topic, and we can move on.
All right. So we have Layla on the line from Seattle. Layla, can you hear us? This is Case and Casey.
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What do you got for us?
Okay, so how you guys were talking about how you said that why doesn't God stop all the diseases if He has the power to?
Right.
I was just wondering. I just want to explain that's an opinion. That's a belief. That's your opinion. That's your belief. So
okay.
I just want to know your come back on that. Why do you say that?
So let me restate that. You think that it would be my opinion that if God were all powerful, that He would end suffering in the world. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask you a question. Do you think that God is all good?
Yes.
Then why do babies get born with their skin turned inside out, or babies get born with no brains, or why do earthquakes happen?
Because that's the power that He has.
So God has the power to make people suffer?
Because that is His power, and He's showing you the power that He has.
Why would He do that to an innocent baby? What did that baby ever do to deserve to live?
Nothing. But that is His creation. He can do whatever.
Okay, well that's no different. That's called rule by fiat. That's basically saying since He's all powerful, He has the right to do whatever He wants to do. So why would you consider that good? Why would you say that God was good then?
Because God is good. That is.
You're just asserting that God is good.
He has the power to. He is showing you people the power that He has.
I understand what you're saying, but I still don't understand why you would think that a being that you
He is the Creator. You wouldn't be here. The Son, the the sun, the sky, the moon, nothing will be here without God.
Which God are we talking about? Is it like the God of the Bible, or
are you talking about God? You're talking about...
Because Lucifer does evil things, so...
There's only one God. I don't know what God you're talking about.
What God are you talking about? Let me...
There's only one God. Allah has God.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
Well, I mean, but Allah is, this is also the God, as the Abrahamic God.
Right.
So, do you believe that He is all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe all those three things?
Yes, I
do. The issue with God being all-powerful and being all-good is that if God has the power to stop terrible things from happening in the world, He can't be all-good. He can't. If God simply has the power to stop terrible things from happening otherwise innocent people, then He cannot be all-good. He simply can't be.
Okay, that is your opinion. I won't even go any further.
Well, it's kind of like if I had a fish tank, right? And I bought some fish, and I dropped some electrodes in the water. Now, I have the power to zap the fish whenever I wanted to. And how can we assert that I'm good if I can zap fish in a tank? It doesn't make
unless you think the fish are worthy of dying. And I think maybe I don't want to put words in your Layla, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think what you're saying is that if a child dies, if a child is born with a very rare birth defect and it lives for 2 days in excruciating suffering, then for some reason...
But He is the Creator. How did that baby come into the world in the first place?
Well, we would say
you assert He's a creator. You assert He's the creator.
Well, we as atheists would say they came into the world because their parents had intercourse and
by a chemical process.
Right. So yes, it is certainly your opinion that there is a creator God. We don't have a belief in the fact that there's a creator God. So we're looking at this from the perspective of this baby, and this makes a heck of a lot more sense than believing in an all good God. It makes more sense that this theoretical baby, and there are probably thousands like them that are born. Their parents had sex. There was some genetic drift that caused this mutation to happen, and then the baby was born, and unfortunately, it might be a debilitating disease that they live with till they die, or they might die in the first week that they're alive, but it's just something that happens. It's just something that happens.
Let me add to that, because just a couple hundred years ago, when children were born with birth defects, they all died horribly. So along comes modern medicine, which saves these babies, alleviates a lot of suffering, removes birth defects, or not removes them, but at least alleviates them. So are we saying that mankind is alleviating the will of God? So are we countering the will of God just by having medical technology?
Right. Let's bring it back to Layla. I'm not sure if we're quite answering your question. But I think we lost her.
Yeah, I think we have some...
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, we're still working on technical problems. So anyway, if you get a busy signal, just a quick note, if you get a busy signal, keep trying. We only have one line coming into the show, so...
Well, we appreciate your call. Let's just say we appreciate your call, Layla.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for calling.
We don't really buy the fact that if there is a creator God, that He is also all good, because I think there's too much suffering in the universe to allow for that.
Right.
And, of course, you are entitled to your opinion, but I think you can state quite logically that God can't be all good if suffering exists.
Right.
So you can either buy that or not buy that.
Right. And having suffering as an example of His power is really kind of inhumane. If that's an example of how good and powerful He is, it doesn't work. That it doesn't hold up.
Right. And I don't think most people want to believe in a God that's... I think you could assert that He was... Well, you can assert that He's omnipotent, because it's the Homer Simpson's great example. Could Jesus microwave a burrito that was so hot that even He couldn't eat it? That's a restating of the classic. Could God make a rock that was so heavy that He couldn't lift it?
Right.
The problem with being omnipotent is that you could create anything, but you couldn't create something that's logically contradictory. So something couldn't actually ever be omnipotent. It's just not possible. It's just not actually. It's logically contradictory. But it's the goodness. It's attributing the characteristic of good that I think that really sets me off and says, I can't believe that this God is good. I can't. And if this was a Christian, she probably would have said that it had to do with the agency of Satan, perhaps. But God created Satan. Why couldn't God just get rid of Satan? Like, why does it have to be that way?
One of the problems I have, obviously, with Christianity and many religions is that He puts us on earth and gives us not enough evidence to believe in it. So we have to have faith to believe in Him. And if we don't, we burn for eternity.